Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm ShaniFay, faith-filled entrepreneur, mom of two, purpose-driven to help you craft a beautiful life. In today's video, I'll show you how to make these adorable, Pinterest-worthy, patriotic-themed desserts. These are sure to impress at any patriotic event that you have coming up for this summer, whether it be Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, you name it, and these will work out great.
I'm about my pledge, I'm decked up on blue bills, and I won't stop until the cash pit look like fall leaves in the backfield. Tell her out of my face if she coming with.
First up are these cute little cupcakes, and so easy to make. So being completely transparent here while you're watching me point to the cupcakes and all that stuff in the video, I did use a box cake mix for this. And I made sure that I tweaked it just a little bit so that it would also be good for the cake pops, which you'll see later down in this video. So I followed the instructions as directed on the box, except I did double the amount of vegetable oil that I put, and you'll see why later when I get to the cake pops. I also use this Betty Crocker's Hershey's milk chocolate premium frosting. I did add 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream to this, and I put it on my in my stand mixer, and I mixed it up so it'd be nice and fluffy. It was a little too sweet right out of the package, but I did want to make sure that this recipe would be as easy as possible for people following it with a minimum amount of ingredients, which is why I didn't use scratch ingredients in order to achieve this. So once I whipped up the chocolate buttercream, I went ahead and put it in this piping bag with a star tip. And I did about 8 cupcakes. I didn't make a whole dozen cupcakes because I didn't really need that much, but you could split it in half. You can use the same box of batter, and you can do 12 cupcakes, and then you can use the rest for the cake pops, but I just went ahead and did 8 cupcakes. So I got these sprinkles from Michael's, if I'm not mistaken, and they were like $2 and change. They actually have a deal right now where it's 30% off, so yay for the win. Love getting things on a discount. So look at that. Why is she always putting her hand in my videos? I guess y'all are just gonna have to get used to that at this point. So I just sprinkled those cupcakes right over, and then I also have some picks that you'll see here in a second. Some little like, oh my gosh, flag picks that I went ahead and I got, and I just stuck them right on top, and I mean, easy peasy. That was literally how easy this was. It took no time at all once, you know, the cupcakes and everything were baked. So yay!
Jag minns hur den tid du gav mig life billar jag. Nu vill jag kunna ge tillbaka allt jag inte kunna ge förut.
I have done so many cakes over the years, but the one thing that eludes me is these cake pops. I am terrible at making cake pops, but I figured I would really give it a good go this time. Now, I hate having to mix like the buttercream. Not I hate, I know that's really strong language, but I really dislike I hate it. I hate making cake pops, but I found a way that is actually pretty reasonable. So if you can see here how like bouncy and moist the cake is, this went a long way towards making it easier to make these cake pops, and so I think it'll be an enjoyable experience for you as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and like dig out all of the insides. I don't want the caramelization from it, and if you don't know, the caramelized pieces are just like that dark piece outside. It's not that it tastes bad, because I did eat that with the leftover chocolate buttercream when I was done, so don't waste it, but it just doesn't work well in the cake pop mixture. But I don't like mixing buttercream in it and then dipping it in chocolate. To me, it's just entirely too sweet. It's just like a ball of sugar in your mouth. So by adding that additional vegetable oil when you're making this particular box cake mix, it actually makes it moist enough so that you don't have to add any buttercream. So I'm just gonna go ahead, if you see here, I'm not adding anything else. I just crumpled it up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and knead that slowly in together. I don't want it to be like way too squishy so that it's not even cake-like, but I do want to go ahead and fold it together so that it does make a ball. So you can see just how I'm doing that here. I'm just kind of scrunching it down with my fingers and then bringing it together, and then squinching it down and then bringing it together, and I just kind of repeat that until I get the desired texture that I would like. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take a scoop. I think it's an XO or OXO, whatever that brand is, but I just use like a cookie scoop or like an ice cream scoop, and it's about a medium size, so it's not too small, and it's also not like a really big one. I think they come in like 4 different sizes, so this is like the second size. And then and you'll see it coming up here. I know I'm talking a little before it, but you'll see it in a second. Just vibe with me here. So I go ahead and I use that scoop, and then I scoop out balls, and I think I was able to make like 10 from this, if I'm not mistaken. So like 10 from this size. But if you can see, it's like a medium size. It's not too small, and it's also not too big, because there is one that's slightly smaller than that. So I'm just gonna like rub it between my hands, and you can see I tried to get most of the caramelization out, because it really does, it affects how easily the ball rolls and how it stays together. So you're just gonna give that a nice little roll until you get it kind of, like a nice little ball shape. Now it's not gonna be perfect because it's handmade, and I think that's part of the beauty in it, is that it's not exactly perfect, but it's still yummy. so there's no issues there. So go ahead and just scoop them out, and I'm just going to keep doing that here, and then we'll get to the next part.
Like how you do it, alright. Everything good, alright, alright. Like how you think, alright. Always on top, alright. Oh yeah, I wanna know it tonight. I wanna be the one to surprise you. Wake you up in the morning. I wanna be the one that you calling. 'Cause I see you. I'm the storm in your dream, making wet dreams come true. She know she bad, better than bad. She a gunshot that blew my mind. No distance I come back.
Okay, so once you have all your balls done, what I found to be easiest for me, I actually use like straws. I picked these up at the Dollar Tree. I use straws to insert into the cake balls. So in order to have something to put that on, I use these. They're actually, I think they're for candy apples. Yeah, they're for candy apples. So they're like 5.5-inch sticks or something. I will link it in the description box below. And I just stick that into this faux cake round. And then that way you can see here, I can just put the straw over it so I have a place to keep them, because I don't want to have these cake pops facing down. I actually want them facing up. So you see it just kind of slides right over that wooden skewer, and then that makes life easier. Now, epic fail, but here I'm transparent, which y'all see I make mistakes too. So as you can see there, because I forgot to dip it in the chocolate first and then dip the stick inside the cake pop, it completely fell out. And learn from me, don't make that mistake. So you're just gonna go ahead, make sure you dip all of them before you put it in the stick, and that way it has something to bind to, especially because it doesn't have any like buttercream and it hasn't been put in the fridge. Like, I am making these at room temperature, so I know a lot of other recipes call for you to put it in the fridge, let it harden up. I did not do that here, and it worked out completely fine except for that one snafu, but I'm real about mine. So when you dip it in, you want to make sure that you dip straight down and then bring it back out. You don't want to go at an angle, because then you're putting too much pressure on the cake. Cake is heavy, and then you're gonna lose your cake ball. So you want to make sure that you are dipping straight down and then bring it up, and then try to knock off as much excess as you can. Don't really hit it on the side of the glass, just kind of tap it with your finger and then take off the excess. Now I am going to cover these in sanding sugar, but you're not going to do it right away. You want to make sure that when you dip them, you give them a little while to just dry up a little bit. So you want it to kind of lose its sheen, but not quite to the point of drying, because if you put on the sanding sugar too quickly, then you run into the issue of have everything just come off in a sloppy mess. And I mean, nobody wants that, right? We want these to be pretty, like that's the goal. So you're gonna dip it, you're gonna put it to the side, let it dry up a little bit, and then when the time comes, you can break out your sanding sugar, and then you can go over it. And I use just like a larger bowl, so I have something to put it over. And then I use this this little glass container that has like a point on it, because that's just easier for me to sprinkle it over. So I just sprinkle it over, and as you can see, it's not like the chocolate is not dripping everywhere. The sanding sugar is just kind of sticking as it's supposed to. And then that's it. I thought these were so good. Like, this was the easiest way that I found to make them. As I said in the beginning, I hate making cake pops, but I have changed my mind about that. I actually quite enjoy the process now. So now we are on to making these awesome madelines. I love madeline cookies. For this particular recipe, you're going, or for this particular project, or whatever you want to call it, you're going to need the madelines, and then you'll need I use 3 different colors of chocolate, and keep in mind I use all 3 of those packages for this one, like for all these different treats. I didn't open anything else. I didn't have to use like 2 packages of red. I used 1 package of red, 1 package of blue, 1 package of white, and it covered all of these different desserts. So I love madeline cookies because honestly they're like a cake slash cookie, and they're just so good. I love it. So and I love the texture of them, you know, and I like how it has that little seashell looking vibe. So I'm really digging that. So I use these a lot for dessert tables. It's really simple. I'm just dipping, as you can see, I'm just dipping it at like an angle into, see, I kind of bend the cup and then I dip it in at an angle, and then you have like this diagonal, you know, chocolatey goodness. It's yum. Okay, so it's really simple. You know, what I'm doing here is pretty self-explanatory. Then I'm going to add some of this white. Now, I mean, I'm telling you, like, I used 1 thing of white and it went a long way. So you can really do this on a budget. Plus, if I'm not mistaken, Michael's has these on sale too for $5, the candy melts. So yeah, I don't use the Wilton ones anymore. I think this brand is called like Sweet Tooth or something like that, which is so cute. Hey. So I just work at a diagonal. You've seen me do this so many times before, and you'll see me do it again in the video. I'm just going to slow it down here for you for a second. But you've seen me do this before. If you've seen my Easter video where I did the chocolate covered strawberries, I use the same technique, and it just comes out so beautiful. I put a little star on it from the sprinkle pack that I got. That sprinkle pack I bought at Walmart. So and it was like $3, and I still have tons of sprinkles left over, so it's definitely worth the money. So now with these strawberries, I just dip them all the way in white. I like my strawberries to be completely submerged. I don't like the red showing at the top. I try to get as much of the strawberry covered as I possibly can. So I just repeated that step with all of the strawberries, making sure that, you know, I dipped them all in the white. And then at an angle, the same way we did with the madeline cookies, I just put the strawberry at an angle, and then it gives me that little diagonal of the blue color, and I just repeated that for all the strawberries. Now I'm just going to I put some red into a piping bag, and I'm just going to cut off like a super small tip because I want to have like a really thin drizzle on these strawberries, and I'm going to put it in the opposite direction. So you'll see me do that here. And if you're looking at that crazy blue strawberry off to the side, yeah, that was another oops. I wasn't holding on to the stem of the strawberry. I was just holding on to the skewer. And the whole thing fell in the strawberry. Don't worry, it got eaten. You know, it was not abandoned. It was just ugly, but it did not get abandoned. We did eat it. So just go ahead and make a diagonal on these strawberries, and it's just that simple. I repeated that same step for all of the strawberries. I think I did like 5 or 6 of them. What I've learned about doing these dessert tables, we're a family of 6. And so what I've learned is that you don't want to have like a dozen of everything. Sometimes it's just nice to have like a little bit of everything. And then 1, it looks super full. And 2, nothing goes to waste. If you make too much, then not everybody's going to eat it, unless, I mean, you know your family better than I do. I just know my family. We like sweets, but we're not trying to die. So your family might be bigger and that might work for you. This is what works for our family. And so that's just my suggestion. I thought that they were a little plain and needed a little something extra because, I don't know, if you've been watching my videos, you know by now that I am extra. And so I just added a little bit of these sprinkles, and I thought I gave it a little, what is that word? Zhuzh? Is that the word? I don't know. Y'all tell me in the description box below what you think that did for it. So I just added a little bit of the sprinkles. and they were delicious. I made them way before Memorial Day, so obviously we've eaten them already, but they were really good. And let's get to the next one. So for this one, this is super easy. These ice cream cones, you just need the same things, the chocolate, the sprinkles, and waffle cones, which I got at Walmart. I think they were like $1.98 for 12. I just put this paper towel down in a styrofoam cup. That way I'd have something for it to sit in, so that it wouldn't, like be toppling over and all that stuff. And then my cups were a little too tall, so if I would have put them straight in the cup, then they would have messed up the rim. So I, heated the chocolate, and I stuck the cone directly down. And then as you can see here, I just then stuck it right into the sprinkles. But I will warn you, I would recommend waiting a little bit, like same way we did with the cake pops, so dip it in the chocolate and then wait a little bit and then dip it, because then it's not like sliding all over the place and it's not an icky mess, right? I wanted to fortify these a little bit, so what I did is I took some of that white chocolate and I actually piped that in the bottom. If you've ever had like a drumstick, have you had those drumsticks with like the chocolate coating at the top and then it's got the nuts and stuff on it? Oh, it's so good. In that, at the bottom, they always have that nice chocolate surprise. Well, it's not just because it tastes good, it's also because it helps your cone to stop dripping from the bottom. So I really want to enjoy these cones, so I figured, hey, I'll do the same thing. So that's exactly what I did here, is I just piped a little bit right in the bottom. You see, it's not a lot, it's maybe like 1/2 inch up the bottom of the cone there, and that way it'll just keep it good, so when you do put your ice cream in there, you don't have to worry about it dripping out the bottom. You can really enjoy it, right? Super easy. So now let's get to these pretzels. I love making these pretzels. I find them at Publix, which is our local store, our local supermarket here. I don't know where in the country you are, but if you have a Publix, then you know exactly where to go get these sourdough pretzels. I love them. They're not as big as like roll goal sourdough. They're a really nice size and they hold up really well. Those tend to break really easy. These do not, so I really love these. So I just dip half of it in the blue chocolate, and make sure you dip, shake off all the excess and all of that, and then I just repeated that same step for all of the pretzels. I'm just gonna cut a little tip off of that piping bag. I have some white chocolate in here, and then you can see that I'm just gonna do like a little, I'm going for like a red, everything's red, white, and blue, but I'm going for like blue on one side, red and white on the other, because I want it to look like an actual flag. So, and these actually ended up being my favorite treat out of all of them, and these will last you a little while. So if you want to make these in advance because maybe you're concerned about time or something like that, you definitely can, and they will hold for like 2 weeks if you put them in an airtight container or in a Ziploc bag. So I'm just going to do that same drizzle that you've seen me do before, and then I repeated that with the red. So that's how we got these red and white stripes. And I took some of those white stars from the sprinkles I told you that I got from Michael's. I took the white stars and I added 5 to the blue area, and I did that on all of them. And it was super easy to do. I just used a little bit of the white chocolate to make sure that I adhered it to that blue, and I thought they came out adorable and they taste delicious. Those I did end up making about 10 to 12 of them, because we eat those all the time because they last so long, you can snack on them. So that's it, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that wasn't too fast or anything, but if you need to slow it down, go back, watch it again. I will leave everything in the description box. Thanks for watching.
Every time you're looking out for me, love you.